Go ahead.
Team, this is Captain America, Patrick Reed. Are y'all ready to huddle up?
All right, we are ready to huddle up here on a Wednesday night at Sawyer Park. The ice out here in the Woodlands. Bob Slovak with you, along with the consummate pro, Jason Alexander. You ready to ring the bell, my man?
Let me tell you something, Bob Slovak. We're ringing the bell. Hey, excitement in the air. We got Stroh's Sox, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Texans catching 10 this Sunday. And the Rockets preseason just tipping off last night. We're going to get into it, break it down, aren't we?
We are, and I don't think Texans getting 10s enough. I'll tell you that right now. All right, let's talk headlines here to get started here. You mentioned the Astros, Game 1 of the ALDS against the White Sox tomorrow, 3 p.m. at Minute Maid Park. I've got my tickets. I'll be down there. I can't wait for it to get going. We're going to talk to Steve Sparks, Astros radio announcer, here in just a minute to get the lowdown. But I like what the Astros got going. I like them here in this first series.
I do, too. I think we're going to win Game 1 for sure tomorrow. Game 2 is going to be a little bit of a toss-up. I can't wait to talk to Sparky about that, get a little inside analysis from Sparky. And then, look, the series is going to be on. If we can catch the first 2 games at home now, Bob, we're off to the races. But if we split, as you know, in a 5-game series, anything can happen.
It's going to go 5 games if they split. Hopefully not. All right, Rockets, preseason underway. Woo, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter. Man, there's some excitement. I don't expect them to make the playoffs, but, man, it's going to be fun.
One of the best bets of the year I've seen in just a long time. 26.5 is the Rockets' win total. Total for the year. If they win 27, we win money. We're going to go over. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. KPJ, Jalen Green. And I'm telling you, look out for Spurgeon. I like him in the middle. Christian Wood. We got some fresh young legs, and they're all motivated. So I think it's going to be fun to watch the Rockets in 2021-22.
I'm telling you, it's going to be exciting there. College football, another big Saturday coming up. We're going to talk with David Nuno from Texas Ags, and we're going to talk a lot of Aggie football. Man, what's going on in College Station? They got Alabama coming in Saturday night. I think Bama's favored by 17 maybe. I mean, it's not looking good, so I'm sure David's going to have some good insight about what's going on with these Aggies.
I'm excited to hear it. We got Mad Dog Maddox on the ground in College Station. Is going to join us as well. But Jimbo Fisher, he needs to put up a fight this week, or there are going to be some cat calls going on, no question about it.
All right, the only thing I'm going to say about the Texans is they're playing at New England. You said they're getting 10.
I think we're at home.
Home against New England.
But Davis Mills, we're going to get into it just a touch, but Davis Mills, I don't think 10's going to be enough, but we'll see.
Not after last week.
Oh, it was bad, Bob. It was bad.
I never heard so much bad pub and so many bad reports about the Texans. I watched a little bit of it, but I couldn't take it. I had to turn it off.
How are the seats tomorrow night, real quick, before we go to break? How are your seats tomorrow
down the
afternoon?
third base line. I got pretty good seats, man. Pretty good seats.
Go Stros.
I'm excited. I got my jersey ready to go, man. That's what it's all about this time. October is so much fun here in the city of Houston when the Astros are playing in the playoffs. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Steve Sparks, Sparky, radio announcer with the Astros. He's going to give us the lowdown, what's going on, and get his prediction on this series. We'll be right back.
All right, team, your favorite pro here. Now, look, we all know our Huddle Up fans now. We like our cars, but we also want a hometown discount, too. And lucky for us, all we need to do is make a short drive up I-45 North to Cowboy Kia, and lucky for us today,
Here out there, Webb. There's Jason with Huddle Up.
we've got Mark Compton and Mark Webb here with us to tell a little bit more about Cowboy Kia.
Welcome. Hey, this is Mark Compton at Cowboy Kia. I got a few things for you. They need to come in, bring a friend, shake a hand, make a deal, but I got $500 off for Huddle Up.
Huddle up.
Huddle Up. Huddle Up. Jason Alexander, $500 off. Black's House Service, Blue Jean Friendly.
That a baby. Now look, we've got the best in used and new cars here at Cowboy Kia.
Cowboy, baby.
Mark Webb's going to give you 2 free college football winners. Mark Compton's going to give you the best deal in town. Come visit him today.
All right, great to have Cowboy Kia on with us right there. Love to have him as a sponsor. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Some of the best in the business. Mark Compton, Mark Webb. Go see him at Cowboy Kia. They'll give you a heck of a deal.
All right, now let's talk some more Astros baseball. There he is, Steve Sparky, ready to give us the lowdown on the Astros-White Sox series. First thing I want to ask you, Sparky, how was the celebration in the locker room last week?
Celebration was great. Call me Cowboy Sparky if you want to. The celebration was great. It was a little bit more subdued from years past, but that kind of goes without saying. This team's been to the dance a lot now since 2015, and we've come to expect it. I think a lot of the players have too, and they're talented, and they're a little bit cocky, and I love it.
You know what? I love to see Dusty Baker drinking from the cleat, man. That was pretty cool.
That was a moment in time.
It was. He said it was a new cleat, though. I hope it was.
Well, let's hope so. I hope he didn't have any Carlos Correa fungi in there.
Oh, God. All right, so White Sox and the Astros. Astros won the season series 5-2. They swept that big 4-game series back in June. How do they match up here as we get to October?
I don't think that we could really take anything away from the series that they played in Houston, and I'll say it because of this. 2 of their best hitters were out of the lineup, and Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez. They weren't there. Alex Bregman wasn't there, so just to really get a feel for each other's teams, I don't really think you can. Here's what I want to say about the Chicago White Sox, which is a little bit different these days, is that they're almost all right-handed.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of switch hitters, but the Astros would rather those right-handed batters bat from the left side. So if you're thinking about left-handed relievers for the Astros, they may not use them. They may not even have them on the roster. And if they do, I bet it's only one of them.
Which one do you think it'll be if they have one?
Oh, man. Put me on the spot. If you're going to put me on the spot, I'll say Brooks Raley.
Okay.
Taylor's had a great season this year, and I think lefties are only hitting about $130 off of them. But here's the thing, with the three batter minimum rule for left-handed pitchers coming into the ball game, you're not going to see 3 lefties. 1 or 2 of those is going to be a righty with the pinch hitter involved. So I think I go with Raley because of that.
Sparky, I'm looking at some stats. I mean, the Stros loaded, obviously, if you look over the entire year. We're in the top 7. We're first in about 4 offensive categories. My big question is, moving into the playoffs, what's the status of Zach Greinke? What's the internal feel on what his role is going to be in this playoff push? Are we going to see any starts out of Zach, or is he going to be strictly out of the pen?
I don't think we'll see any starts. I don't think he's stretched out enough now. He only got 4 starts in September, and none of them were really that lengthy. So I think that the days are thinking about postseason for Zach Greinke with the Astros are over. Can he help the team out of the bullpen? Absolutely. So those 2 or 3 inning stints, I think, might be right up his alley, seeing the team maybe just one time through.
Sounds like a good deal. How about the lineup? It's been so long since I think we saw Michael Brantley and Alex Bregman in the same lineup, and I mean, now we've got them all back in here. Just your thoughts on the power of this lineup when you have everybody in it.
Yeah, I think back to last year, you didn't have Yordan Alvarez. You just really feel good about having those first 7 in the lineup, and they've only had them in the lineup 29 times at the same time all season long. I'm talking Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Correa, Gurriel, Tucker, those 7. And the thing I like about that little matchup right there, too, is with Brantley and with Alvarez and with Tucker, you have lefties to sprinkle in with all those righties.
Yep.
So I think this is the most balanced lineup the Astros have gone into the postseason with ever.
All right, so real quick, I wanted to get your thoughts on Lance McCullers. He really stepped up to be the ace down the stretch. Knowing Lance, he lives for these moments, doesn't he?
He does. He's a big game pitcher. We saw it closing out the championship series against the Yankees a few years ago. We've seen multiple postseason outings, and I think that's the thing, Bob, more than anything else, is you go into the postseason, and if you haven't been there before, you're a little bit nervous because you don't know really what to expect. And with so many of these Astros players, including Lance McCullers, who's now front and center, man. It was Verlander, it was Cole, it was Morton, all these guys. Now it's Lance McCullers Jr. out there front and center. I think he relishes that opportunity.
Yeah.
Sparky, what's your prediction here? Is it going 5?
I think it's going 3, to be honest with you.
I love it.
It might go 4, but I honestly believe that they're a much better team than the White Sox. I'll say that. I'll say this. The playoffs are a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are. Once you play 162 games, you usually figure out who's the best of that division and things of that nature. But anything can happen, especially a 5-game series. So would I be shocked that the Astros don't win this series? I would be surprised. Not shocked, but I would be surprised because I think they're that much better. I really think this Astros team is loaded for bear.
A couple of further questions real quick. I mean, what are the keys to victory for the Astros? I mean, tell me what they need to do.
I think they need a couple of the relievers. Some of the acquisitions that the GM, James Click, picked up at the deadline were awesome. I think about Yimi Garcia and Phil Maton in particular.
Okay.
Figuring that Maton can throw a great curveball and a slider, so he matches up against guys that are fastball hitters. And the Chicago White Sox are certainly that. And Yimi Garcia, my goodness, he was closing for the Marlins. The Astros got him at the deadline, and I think he's the real sleeper out of the bullpen.
I agree.
You got Stanek and Graveman and Presley at the back end. But I think Garcia is going to be the guy who's going to put out the fires. I think he's got phenomenal stuff. He wants the ball every single day, and I think the Astros just might take him up on it.
All right, so the interesting matchup, I know Jason's got one more question, but the interesting matchup in this series, you tell me what you think, Sparky. Dusty Baker against Tony La Russa, two guys who know each other very well.
They hate each other. That's what's so cool about it. I've been reading articles from the days with Cincinnati and St. Louis. Those two were flipping each other off across the field. I mean, they hate each other, and I love it. Dusty will say that, every once in a while that other guy, my evil twin, will come out, and Tony La Russa brings it out in me, and I'm not proud of it. I don't like him to come out, but he does. Something about La Russa just antagonizes me to whatever. I'll say this: I think Dusty, he wants a ring. He wants a ring for players. He wants a ring for the city. But he also wants a ring for himself because I think it solidifies him as a Hall of Famer. Not that I think he's not already, but I think that's a solidifier also to get to 2,000 wins possibly next year, I think is another goal of his. So for Dusty Baker, man, I think these games are massive.
Awesome.
Well, I'll tell you something, Sparky, to finish off for me. Look, I think we're going to win game one tomorrow. I think Friday, 1 o'clock, Valdez versus Giolito. That's going to be the 50-50 toss-up, in my opinion. And if we can get through that one, Grandma might open up that closet and get the broom out. But I got to ask for all the Sparky fans here, what innings are we calling tomorrow when we're on the airwaves and listening to you and Robert Ford?
So I'm doing the 3rd, 4th, and 7th as far as play-by-play goes, and Robert does all the other play-by-plays as he should. And they should probably kick me off play-by-play because I'm not schooled or versed in that, but I give it a whirl, and I have fun. And I'll miss a call from time to time, but I think it's more because I'm rooting for these guys, and I want everything good to happen to this Astros.
You guys capture the action so beautifully. Y'all do a heck of a job, and we're look forward to listening tomorrow.
I remember when you guys started. How many years has it been now? 6, 7? How many years?
9.
9 already? I remember when you started.
I remember when
you started.
This is our 64th playoff game together.
Oh, what a run. What a run. I remember when you started, Sparky. I started listening to you, and the first thing I said was, he's very knowledgeable, and he's got potential, and you've gotten better every single season, man. I love listening to you. So
there's a lot of work involved. And, there's a lot of people that have helped me along the way. But I wouldn't say I'm a polished play-by-play man, but I don't think I'm there to be a polished play-by-play man. I'm there to impart my 19 years as a player, and so many years now in the booth to go out there and give my opinion on why things happen, not
how they happen.
Exactly what.
Yeah. Last question here. Cards, Dodgers tonight. Wainwright, Scherzer. What's the prediction here?
I think Wainwright gets it done. I think Wainwright goes 7 or 8 innings, and I think the Cardinals win in a close one, probably 3-1, 3-2.
That's a good call right there after the Yankees went down last night to the Red Sox. Last question for you, Sparky, here. Are the Astros still the bad boy of the playoffs? Are they still going to be the most hated team?
No question. And I think they've got a swagger, right?
Yeah.
And I think the fans booing, and I think whatever goes on in the press, you can see it. You can even see it in the promos when they're showing on the big national networks. They barely show an Astros player. You don't think these guys notice that? I mean, they notice that. There's no question about it. So here's what I think. I think they're a defiant group, and I think the booing, I don't think you can put a dent in their swagger. and I think they're better because of it.
They are definitely. It's going to be fun to watch. Game 1 coming up tomorrow, 3 p.m. Steve Sparks. Sparky, thanks for joining us. We love your insight. We love your excitement, man. I can't wait to see you in the locker room celebration in the 3 or 4 games, my friend.
Let's go Stros, baby.
All right, man.
Let's do it. Let's have fun, man.
You got it, Steve. Thanks for joining us here on Huddle Up. Steve Sparks, radio announcer, him and Robert Ford for the Astros. I always love talking to Sparky.
Always a great interview, Bob. No doubt about it. And I'm telling you, dynamite insight. And I know we're all excited for 3 o'clock tomorrow, first pitch.
It's going to be awesome. 3 o'clock, game 1, 1 p.m. Friday on game 2. All right, let's take a quick break here. You're watching Huddle Up with Bob Slovak, the consummate pro, Jason Alexander. We'll be right back right after this quick break.
All right, team, your favorite pro here reporting live from the club. Now, look, in order to hit a pure golf shot, we have to do 3 things. We have to assess, strategize, and execute. And I'm going to tell you, the same 3 things apply if you're in the market for a loan. Woo! And after absolutely piping one, lucky for us, we have Jake Snortland here to tell us more about it.
Thanks, Jason. That is correct. Here at Triumph Lending, we assess, strategize, and execute in getting our borrowers the best deals possible. So feel free to give me a call. My number is 832-639-1455. And no matter if you're looking to purchase a home or refinance your current mortgage, I can get you the best deal out there today.
That's the golden trifecta for Triumph Lending. Give them a call today.
All right, we're back here at Huddle Up, live from Sawyer Park, the Ice House up here in the Woodlands. A great place. Come on, check them out. It is steak night here on a Wednesday. We'll be here Wednesdays, mostly Thursdays, to get you set for what's going on sports-wise here in Houston. Bob Slovak, Jason Alexander, the consummate pro. Hey, let's have a little bit of local sports here on the high school level now. I'm ready for our high school spotlight. Player of the week, Jalen Washington. Tell me about him.
Jalen Washington, Montgomery Bears over in Conroe, Texas last Friday. 293, 5 touchdowns. We got a chance to go visit with Jalen, a couple of highlights, and a wonderful interview with an even better young man.
Yeah, he's got a rocket of an arm. We roll it. He does have a rocket of an arm. You said 293, 5 touchdowns.
Bob, he's a running back. That's 293 on the ground.
Oh, I'm sorry. 293 on the ground.
Yes.
There he goes.
He's got speed to burn, about 5'8", wonderful kid, explosive out of the gate. But I'm telling you, he's a one cut and go. I'd compare him in the NFL to Saquon Barkley. He's got very thick thighs, big legs, and a big personality. So teammates really rallied around him. They were happy to have the Huddle Up crew out to the practice yesterday. And I can't wait to see our interview with Jalen here in just a second.
All right, let's roll it. Jason Alexander with Jalen Washington at Montgomery High.
Okay, team. Jason Alexander here, reporting live here at Montgomery High School. Our high school spotlight player of the week, Jalen Washington, 293 last Friday, 5 touchdowns. Jalen, welcome to Huddle Up. You got to tell all our fans how'd it come together last week. What'd it feel like?
It felt amazing. Our O-line did the task they were told to do. Our whole team took care of everything and did what we were coached to do.
Absolutely fantastic. So, Jalen, look, we all want to get to know you just a little bit, so it's kind of a get-to-know Jalen segment here. A couple questions, couple hard-hitting questions. Where's your favorite place to go out and eat here in Montgomery, Texas?
My favorite place to go out to eat is Texas Roadhouse. Down there, I get a steak, double mashed potatoes, and loaded.
Absolutely. What do we got on there? Hey, what's on the menu for dessert there?
Cookies and cream ice cream.
Simple as can be. Old Bluebell. Can't go wrong with Bluebell as always. All right, love to ask this question. One of my favorite ones. Favorite sports movie? Your favorite sports movie?
The Blind Side.
Michael Orr, and well, Sandra Bullock did pretty good in there too, huh? Yes, absolutely. Okay, look here. Last question here. A lot of up and coming young running backs here in the area, here in the state of Texas, looking up to you. What's your best piece of advice for all the young RBs out here in the state?
Stay dedicated. Do everything your coach tells you to do. Go above and beyond, and just work hard every day and try to get better. And thank your O-line.
Always thank your O-line. Jalen, thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, partner.
Think of that offensive line.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good interview, Jason.
We're back live here. I'm going to tell you, look,
Yeah, it was good
Jalen
stuff.
Washington, what a great young man. And, hey, always remember, if you're a running back here in the state of Texas, remember to thank that offensive line.
You got to thank him. Big night for him. Expecting to see more of him. So congratulations to
5-0. Montgomery Bears 5-0.
I'm telling you, man, they're rolling toward the playoffs. All right, before we take another break and start talking college football and the Aggies, we mentioned the Rockets early on. They're in the preseason. What's the over-under again?
26.5 team total wins for the year. Yes, they play 82 games here, folks. 26.5.
Wow.
I'd be shocked if we don't win 30. We're definitely going to win 27. I would put us on around 34. I think we're explosive. Jalen Green, wise beyond his years. I think he's going to be one of those elite talents. And then KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. You got those two folks in the back court, those two studs. I think it's going to be very electric in Toyota Center on a few nights this coming year.
Jalen Green voted Offensive Rookie of the Year preseason. I mean,
Yes.
so the GM's already said, yeah, watch out for Jalen Green. Not Kate Cunningham. It's Jalen Green.
Or Evan Mobley. I wanted us to draft Evan Mobley, and I'll raise my hand right now. I'm glad we drafted Jalen Green. Front office did a wonderful job. And so I'm excited to watch the Rockets, and we all know, Bob, it's going to be much better than it was last year. There ain't no doubt about that.
We know it. That's coming up. So they got a few more preseason games in the official start of the season toward the end of October. So a lot going on here in the Houston area. Rockets, Astros, and those Texans are going to host New England on Sunday.
Catching 9.5, 10 points at home. I was very disappointed last week. Before we go to break here, Davis Mills, I felt really awful for him. I think it was like trotting you were out there in Buffalo. He's not an NFL caliber quarterback. I'm sure he's a wonderful young man. It looked like he just tried his heart out. He just, the Texans aren't that good to begin with. You put Davis Mills, who's very fringe, even being in the league. It was just way too much for him. I felt bad for him. So hopefully here at home, a little better offensive game plan, a couple of shot plays downfield, which I'm just begging for the Texans to do. Maybe we can keep it close for just a little bit, but I expect New England to come in and win about 21-10.
I think a lot of fans here in Houston, last week had the Texans on, hoping for the best. The rain was coming down. It started going the wrong way.
Got an early turnover.
We got. I'm thinking Lonnie Johnson. I'm like, oh, here we go. They couldn't do anything on offense. Mills is fumbling the ball. I was like a lot of people with the clicker. Cowboy game.
Cowboy game was way more
Oh
entertaining.
my God, it was crazy. They're having a great season. So.
And at this point, Bob, let's make sure we kick the tires on Davis and make sure that we know what he's going to do. And if we win one game or two games,
we got the number one pick.
That's fine. So I'd rather leave him in there for the course of the year. Let's get some young guys a little experience and make sure we're at the top of that draft board come next year.
All right, let's take a quick break here. We're coming back. We're going to talk a lot of college football. We got David Nuno from Texas Ags. He's going to break down that Aggie-Bama game coming up Saturday night up in College Field. So stick around. We'll be back, talk some college football right after.
Okay, team, look, calling a 20-second timeout to give you a hot take from the consummate pro on why everybody needs their own private golf cart, whether it's cruising around the neighborhood with a beverage of choice, living in a gated community, a vacation home, the golf course, and at the end of the day, chicks just dig it. Come down to Conroe Golf Cars, and oh my goodness, look here, we've got City Councilman Kurt Maddox here to tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, hey, Jason, my fellow lumberjack. Hey, not only am I the city councilman, also VP of Conroe Golf Cars. We've been here since 1974 and glad to have you. We sell them, we rent them, we build them. So we can do whatever you want. Everybody walks in here and says, hey, let me see your new car, your used car product. I said, well, these are all our used cars. So we start from the ground up, Jason. We take the cars in on trade, clean them up, put new batteries, lift them, do whatever. We call it a little cocktail cart or just a fun cart, recreational cart. So you can either buy it, rent it, or do whatever you want.
Kurt, I love it, and I'm going to tell you what. Listen to Kurt Maddox and the Consummate Pro. Come out and visit us here at Conroe Golf Cars today.
All right, welcome back to Huddle Up here at Sawyer Park in the Woodlands. Huddle Up with Bob Slovak, the consummate pro. He's Jason Alexander. We're going to talk the pros picks here in a little bit, but now we're going to talk college football, a lot of college football. Joining us now on the Zoom is David Nuno from Texas Ags, covers the Aggies up in College Station. David, how you doing, man?
My old partner, my good friend, Bob Slovak. How are you, buddy?
I'm hanging in, David. I'm hanging in, man. I really appreciate you joining us. So much high hopes for the Aggies this season, but the last two weeks it hasn't gone their way. Losses to Arkansas and Mississippi State. Give me the state of the union up there in College Station. What's the mood up there with the Aggies?
People are not happy, but you have to also take into account the amount of injuries that they have, Bob. You have Haynes King, their starting quarterback, done. He'll be back maybe after the bye week. But when you lose your starting quarterback, regardless of how much time he's played out there, it changes everything. He had all the snaps. He was the expected starter from all the way from the spring game. So that's part of it. You also have two freshmen starting on the offensive line because Luke Matthews has not been able to go this year, had season-ending surgery recently. So he's done. That's a huge problem. Bryce Foster playing really nice job there at the center spot. But you can't have a freshman starting your center, a brand-new line as well. Layden Robinson, another guy's missed 2 games out there. He came back last week. You've got Ruben Fadri, another freshman starting on the offensive line. So you got a lot of issues there. Plus 3 wide receivers have been gone. Chase Lane may or may not be back this week. He was an expected starter. Hez Jones, also from the Houston area, has been gone all year with a separated shoulder. So they had guy after guy after guy out. It's been a huge problem. Caleb Chapman, another guy who played huge last year for them in 2 games before he got hurt. But in that Florida game, he had over 100 yards in that game. So they've had a lot of injuries on the offensive side. Defensively, I've been a little confused. They do have some injuries. Miles Jones done for the year, it looks like. Supposed to be one of their starting cornerbacks. So they've had some issues there, but I still thought the strength of the team would be their defense. The running game is good. When you can't run the ball because of an offensive line that's struggling, you're just pancakes there. And that's really been the problem so far.
I tell you what, I don't know if it's the camera angle or not, but have you been working out more, man? Because your guns are like really popping right now.
I'll say no comment. Let's just say this, Bob. The pandemic was very good for my fitness. I was able to hit the gym a little bit.
There you go. All right, so I listened to Jimbo Fisher this week. He said, we got to move on. We got to move on. Well, you're moving on to Alabama. I mean, but easier said than done. I mean, do we see something out of the Aggies this week that will keep this game close in the fourth quarter and give them a chance?
No, we don't, unfortunately. Right. And honestly, that's not a terrible thing either, other than being in this fog, right? You're in this 2-game, potentially 3-game fog. It feels terrible. Everything's coming apart. But Ole Miss, one of the best offenses in all of college football, did not score in the first half, scored 21 in the second half in mop-up duty. So, no, the defense has been bad. They can't run the ball. The one difference would be, to me, when it comes to the Aggies taking them on, is that the Aggies play a little bit more of Alabama's a little bit more of that technical side. They're going to try to run the ball, but they can also go deep on you, while Mike Leach's offense is all about spreading it out and getting to as many wide receivers. That's why they struggled last week. They still do have a strong defense, but I don't see a reason for them to have a chance in this game. I really don't.
Well, I don't think they have a chance to win. Jason Alexander here, and watching the Ole Miss Bama game last week, I really enjoyed Lane Kiffin's pregame talk. Get your popcorn ready. He was ready to rock, ready to roll. They showed up and tried to win the game. Obviously, went 0 for 3 there in the first half on 4th downs, and the game got out of control very quick. If A&M's defense can show up at all, Bryce Young hadn't made many mistakes, but they haven't been in any close games. And so can A&M pick off Bryce Young? Can the defense spark anything to keep this thing close? Look, we know the Aggies aren't going to win. Can we get a close game at halftime?
Well, here's the thing. They've started really slow in all these games, but they've had a really good second half. Mike Elko has been a master at defensive matchups in the second half of games. That's going to be a big problem. But I will say this. When Bryce Jones did struggle, it was on the road at the Swamp in Florida, right? Kyle Field, very similar atmosphere. That is your chance. And if that defense does get off and force a young redshirt freshman quarterback into some mistakes, sure, we could have ourselves a game. I just haven't seen that for them. Guys, I'm going to tell you big picture. As bad as it looks for A&M right now, and it does look bad, right? It looks real bad for A&M. A lot of teams out there are struggling, right? Ole Miss and Arkansas, who have only 1 loss this year, one of those 2 teams can have 2 losses pretty soon. LSU is in the middle of a 5-game stretch where you see 2, 3, 4 losses piling up. So when it's all said and done, A&M is going to finish this Alabama game. Let's just say for right now that they lose that game. They've got a very winnable game in Missouri. They got a very winnable game in South Carolina. Then Haynes King comes back potentially for that Auburn game. And now you're looking at a team that could potentially go 8-4 with a bowl win, 9-4, potentially.
Yeah, and that was where I was going to go with this right now. I want to get a sense of the Aggie fans, and then you're an Aggie. Are they okay with this downslide right now? Now, you kind of pumped it up there and said they could go 9-4 with a bowl win, but is that okay at this tenure of Jimbo Fisher's, head coaching status?
Not okay. But again, it is. People are really mad, especially on the Maxx Sports. They're extremely upset with Jimbo. They're very upset with the way the program was projected to be and where they are right now. The problem is the projections were wrong. Your preseason projections were based on an Orange Bowl team with a senior quarterback and an offensive line that had a bunch of veterans on there. You know that the 5 stars are coming in, but the 5 stars have not developed yet. So if you somehow go 9-4 with this team, it would be an incredible season based on where you are today. Obviously not looking at it from what it looked like in July.
All right, last question for you, David. Give me your insight, what you're hearing up there. When are Texas and Oklahoma officially going to join the SEC?
So I was told just recently that there's some folks out there that really believe it could happen next season. I don't see how that can happen, especially with schedules, and they better do that real soon. But it will be before 2025, obviously. I think 2023 is the logical bet. But I'm hearing that both programs are really interested in doing it sooner than later. Obviously, they're going to make so much more money in the SEC. Why not buy it out right now and make that money up here in the next 2 years?
Well, they play this week up in the Cotton Bowl, and Texas is kind of on the upswing right now. Oklahoma, I don't know what's up with them. They're just not as good as people thought they were. But, all right, we see them. One more question, Jason?
Absolutely, David. What's your prediction? I need a final score from College Station this Saturday.
47-21. There you go.
The
Alabama, 47-21.
Bet the over.
Bama, and the over-under is only 51.5. We're going to get to that later. It's very, very low, which makes me think that old Aggie defense, those 6-man, might show up a little bit, at least for a bit, on Saturday.
Awesome. How's soccer going with the kids, David?
Buddy, so you can tell this is my office right now. There was a time, Bob and I would be getting ready for the All-Star game, or excuse me, the playoffs, and we'd be grinding, doing live shots. This is my live shot right now at the soccer field, enjoying my kids practicing, and I'm not missing the news environment at all. I miss my people, like I miss you, I miss Greg and Joe Gleason, but I'm not missing that vibe.
Yeah, the grind's a little bit too much, man. We got to live our lives. I'm glad you get to spend time. Get to spend time with your girls and boys. Tell them I said hello for sure. I appreciate you joining us, David. We'll catch up with you again.
All right, Bob, Jason, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
All right, David Nuno from TexasAgs.com. Check him out. Check him out on the website. He is the broadcast director with Texas Ag. Does a great job. And, Aggie's going to be back. It's just a downturn a little bit.
It is. And when they get King back, they're a different football team. He's got a very strong arm, and obviously their backup just having it. It's shocking to me that he's the backup. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that he's the backup in College Station, and I'm sure he's a wonderful young man. He just hadn't got it done for the Aggies. So we'll see. It's going to be a tall task. The defense is going to have to carry the load this Saturday, and they're going to be the ones keeping them in the game. And if A&M, I'm going to tell you something, Bob, if A&M covers this football game, look for the under to hit. See if they can put a little pressure on Bryce Young.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it for sure, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the Aggies play the Horns in a couple of years, like a lot of people.
Everybody's going to be ready for that. Can we get it back on Thanksgiving?
Oh, let's try to do it. All right, now we're not going to take a break here. We've got another Aggie expert.
On the ground in College Station, Mad Dog Maddox. Mad Dog Maddox, first appearance here on Huddle Up. He said he's got some hot takes for this Bama Aggie showdown on Saturday. Mad Dog, welcome to the show.
Hi.
What do we got cooking up there in College Station?
Man, I think we have an interesting game this weekend. I mean, I want to say we can keep it close in the first half. Our defense is just really rock solid. It's just when it comes down to, I'm a big believer in the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks really run the show, and they really push you over the limit of what you're going to be doing. And I'm just looking in the first half, we might be able to keep it close with this stud defense of ours. But I mean, once we get in the second half, I think it's going to break away. But I am a big fan of the under hitting in this game, and Aggies might be able to cover. I don't think it's going to be a blowout just because I think it might end up being a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, I think if A&M can keep this a 2-possession game, and the under is going to hit really well.
I like your optimism. I like the optimism, and when you're laying down a little bit of dinero on it, it does pique your interest a little bit more. So,
Well, I think you got to try to hit the double pop shop on this game, and you play Bama in the over, A&M in the under. You want to take the points, make sure it gets off to a slow start. I'm telling you, the under last week with Bama and Ole Miss was easy. It was over under 70, and I think it was 35-0 at the end of the first half. So they weren't going to get there. And so this week, look, if the Aggies can keep it close, maybe 21-7 at halftime, maybe 17-7. If we can keep Bama under 21 points in that first half now, Mad Dog, look out in Aggie Land. I'm a big believer in this crowd. Bryce Young had some trouble in Florida, as David just mentioned. I think going to College Station, big game for the Aggies. Bigger game for the Aggies than it is for Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, the crowd's going to be raucous, and I tell you, a couple of mistakes out of Bryce Young early, maybe an early pick. Look out for this thing to be close going into the third quarter.
Hey, Mad Dog, are you a student up there, Mad Dog?
Yes.
Okay, give me the vibe of the students. You know, David Nuno was just telling us that everybody's mad on the message boards and everything. What are the students saying right now after these 2 straight losses?
A lot of these students right now, I mean, just depending on how much they are into the football, like the more the casual fans are starting to peer off and starting to kind of get down on themselves on this season. But a lot of people who really buy in, who are going to the games, who are really into it, they're going to bring a certain kind of energy, like Super Bowl level energy to, like, as I'd like to say, to this game. The fans are going to be there. They're going to show out, and they're going to be the fans who are going, who are involved, believe every game is a win for the Aggies. They have no doubt in their mind that they're going in. Everybody who's going to this game is going to think we're going to win all the way up until maybe the second quarter. But I promise you right now, going into that game, we're all going to think we're going to be winning this game. And I mean, if we get the run game going, I know our O-line's young, but we really rely on that run. We can peel out some long drives. We can really keep the score kind of low with our defense, and that's why I think the under is going to hit, and I think we might be able to cover this game just because we're going to run the ball so much, and we're going to try and get – I mean, our third leading rusher is Zach Calzada. I mean, we're gonna get him moving out on the run too. We don't need to force him to use his arm as much. If we keep using this run, they're going to have people there. And if we're in it, we're making it that kind of game where it's a defensive game, the crowd's going to get into it. That you can feel some pressure on some Bryce Young, and he might make an error or two.
I said 6th man earlier when we were talking. The 12th man's going to be live in College Station. I'm telling you, look out. Look out for the old Aggies. They're not going to win, but I'm expecting an Aggie cover. The whole nation's on Alabama. They're expecting a blowout, and we all know when you're expecting it, it doesn't happen. So look out for the old A&M Aggies this Saturday.
All right, Mad Dog, thanks for joining us here. Thanks for your insight, man. Go have a great time Saturday night, man. Go Aggies. You know, if you're not going to pull off the win, cover the spread, baby.
Get everybody at College Station out partying.
Get all those students can pay their rent, man, when the Aggies cover, man. Thank you, Mad Dog.
Thank you.
All right, good seeing you.
Buddy.
All right, man, thank you. All right, let's take a quick break here. We've got the pros picks coming up. We're not going to say this too loud, but you owe everybody in this ice house a drink. Because you didn't go 3-0 on the pros.
I didn't? Did I? Was that the bet?
No, you said if we go.
Bob, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, we're going to say it real quietly. But we're going to be back with the pros picks, talk about what happened last week, give you the picks this week, help you make some money. You're watching Huddle Up with Bob Slovak, the consummate pro, Jason Alexander. We will be right back. All right, we are back here. Huddle Up with Bob Slovak, the consummate pro, Jason Alexander. This is our pro picks segment. The consummate pro, going to give you picks now. Last week, you had a winning week. 2-1, 2-1,
4-2 overall. We lost Ohio. Look, our winners were very, very easy, though. We had Texas Tech +7, won outright, which was absolutely fantastic. The NFL was very easy. Baltimore, easy winner at Denver, no problem at all. So we want to go 6-0 this week. That's always the goal. We're 14-7-1. We're up 7 units so far. Not bad, but I want more, and I know you do too.
We want it. We want to help you win some money here. So let's go with the pros picks, starting with our college games. TCU against Texas Tech. You're picking the Horned Frogs They're giving 1.5?
They're giving 1.5. You always know me. You know me. We always want to take underdogs. We always want to take the points when they're going to give them out. Look, Texas Tech, big win over West Virginia last week. They're not that good. Last week was dictated more on West Virginia coming down on almost beating Oklahoma. The Horned Frogs, I thought, put up a great fight against Texas.
They did.
They had 3 very untimely fumbles. I think the Horned Frogs have a little bit of talent. I expect them to go up. I don't think this is going to be close. This is more the Texas Tech team that showed up against the Longhorns. I like the Horny Toes to win by 20. I think this is going to be an easy one.
Oh my. Win by 20, and they're giving 1.5. All right.
Guns down.
Guns down on that one. All right, UTSA, UT San Antonio, getting 3.5 against Western Kentucky. What makes this a good one?
A little bit off the map here. The Roadrunners, first appearance here on Huddle Up. We haven't picked UTSA. They've got such a young, good squad. They play fast. They play quick. Western Kentucky has played a little bit slower. Offense has been off the rails just a bit. I like UTSA to spring the upset here, but I think this is going to be a tight game. I always love the number at 3.5 with 2 evenly matched teams. So UTSA might pull out a nail biter, but they're definitely going to cover the spread. Look for them to win by 3 or lose by 3. Make sure you get that hook with the Roadrunners.
All right, so you're going the last college pick. You're going with the over. Total is 40.5. Penn State and Iowa.
Yes.
Man, that sounds like a defensive battle, but you're going with the over.
So it is going to be defensive, and you know what's going to hit the over for us, Bob, is the defense. 2 turnovers by each team on their side of the field is going to get us those extra 21 points that we need to hit over 40.5. You're going to have to watch all 4 quarters. This isn't going to hit in the third, but look for this game to be right around 24-20, 27-20, but I expect this game to go right around 47 points. Judging by the 4 turnovers, they've just got to be on the right side of the field. I like the number at 40.5. Book it.
That's going to be a good one to watch. That's going to be a fun game. A couple of top 20 teams. It's going to be fun. All right, NFL. Let's start with the Browns getting 2 points against the Chargers. Is that game in San Diego or Cleveland?
It's in San Diego. Well, L.A. It's in L.A.
I'm sorry.
And so, Cleveland on the road last week in Minnesota. I make that mistake too, Bob. Cleveland on the road in Minnesota. They're such a gritty, grindy team. And I use the word gumption, and I'm not sure I know what that means, but it means you got a little heart. You can ground and pound with the running game. Kareem Hunt.
I don't know. I'm just going to stop you real quick. Justin Herbert, I mean, he's looking like a top 5 quarterback.
And he is a top 5 quarterback. I thought Monday night was a huge win for the Chargers.
Big time.
But you could tell they got a little jittery there in the second half when they got up 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
They let the Raiders back in the game. I thought that was such an emotional win, and I bet big on emotion and numbers. I think Cleveland goes on the road. I think they've got a little more grit this week. It's a bigger game for Cleveland than it is the Chargers. I think that Cleveland pulls out a nail-biter with their ground game. Baker Mayfield, 1 big bomb to OBJ. But they win by 3, but it's a nail-biting game.
All right, he's going with the Browns +2 against the Chargers. Broncos +1 against the Steelers. On paper, this looks like an easy bet.
It does. Look, I said last week that was our only NFL loss was Pittsburgh. I thought Big Ben, Mike Tomlin, they had to have that game last week if this was going to be their last ride this year. Pittsburgh's done. I think their emotional balloon has been popped. Drew Lock probably going to get the start for Denver. He has a lot to prove. Didn't look very good last week in duty, coming in for Teddy Bridgewater against the Ravens. I think a full week of reps with the ones. Look for Drew Lock to have a huge game, throw for 300-plus yards against Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think this is going to be close. The Broncos get back on track, move to 4-1. I think they win by 17, 13-17.
Wow, another big spread he's calling for. All right, last game on the Pros Picks, the Saints giving 2 against the Washington football team.
The Washington football team pulled out. It's unbelievable. I had Atlanta last week at the end of a 16 parlay, broke a screen pass. I like Washington's team. I think they're building and they're doing something great. At the end of the day, the Saints have a better roster than Washington does. Look for famous Jameis Winston to get really going. Look, they lost a big lead to the Giants last week. The Saints are going to get on the road. They're going to come together. I like Sean Payton, Jameis Winston to get it done. I don't think this will be kind of competitive for a bit. A Saints win by 10. It's an easy cover. I'm very confident in these 3 NFL plays this week. I'm expecting 3-0. No doubt about it.
All right, he's going with the Browns, the Broncos, the Saints. Mark it down. Follow the Pros Picks, and you can put a little bit of cash in your pocket.
Absolutely, and come and visit Sawyer Park and spend a little bit of hard-earned cash from this weekend.
All right, Sawyer Park. It is a Wednesday night at stake now. We got a good crowd out here, and we'll be back here next Thursday because there may be an Astro game. We're figuring no Astro game. It'd be a
Let's
game.
hope.
It's a game 5 if it is.
Right.
We'll be back here next Thursday. And once again, we want to thank Steve Sparks, the Astros radio announcer. Great insight on the Astros. David Nuno, Texas Ags. He gave us the lowdown on the Aggies. And then Mad Dog Maddox gave us the students' perspective there. So great to have them with us tonight. A good show here at Sawyer Park. Jason, you ready to ring that bell to say goodnight?
Let's ring the bell. If anybody's watching right now, I think the Cards upset the Dodgers tonight. Throw $100 on it.
There you go. All right, for Jason Alexander, I'm Bob Slovak. Thanks for being with us here on Huddle Up. You can see it on all of our platforms, on Maxx Sports TV, on the Facebook page, Huddle Up with Bob Slovak. We got it all over the place. Be sure and tune in. We're going to cut this up into segments so you can check out each one individually if you want. We will be back here next week live from Sawyer Park. Come down and join us if you can. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Okay, team, your favorite pro here. Look, thank you all for watching the show. You can find Huddle Up on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Maxx Sports TV. Download the app. That's MAXX Sports TV. And if you have any suggestions for an upcoming artist, a player of the week, or any comments about the show, please email me at jasonsproshow@gmail.com. So on behalf of Mahoney's Bar, Maxx Sports, and the millions and millions of Huddle Up fans, until next time, have a big time.